o'clock today. I'll show our agenda in a second. But before we get started, I want to do a couple introductions. My name is Stephanie. I'm the communications specialist for UCGHI. I also manage our Student Ambassador Program with my colleagues here, who I'll introduce in a second. And before coming to UCGHI, I was a project director at the UCLA Center for Community Health, and I also worked with UCGHI Center for Gender and Health Justice. So I've been with UCGHI for quite some time now. And I'm going to hand it over to my colleague Max to introduce himself.
Hey y'all, my name is Max. I am use he, him, his pronouns. I'm the program analyst and work on the education side of the Global Health Institute. So if you all have seen any of the online global health classes, that's something that I've been working on. Prior to being here, I worked at UC Berkeley on the orientation side. So if any of you from Berkeley and have experienced Golden Bear orientation, that was something that I did in the past. But I'm going to pass it over to Azul.
Hello, everyone. My name is Azul. I use they, them pronouns, and I am the program assistant for the Institute. In this role, I basically support operations, event coordination, and communications. And prior to working here, I was working at UC Riverside. I was a payroll analyst there for 2 years. And then prior to that, I did work at UCLA as an academic analyst. So, yeah, that's a little bit about me. We can get started. Back to you, Stephanie.
Awesome, thank you. And we do have a special guest too, but we will introduce her in a bit. Okay. So first of all, happy Halloween. Thank you for joining us on Halloween. I hope you all are having a fun day so far and hopefully have some fun and safe plans later. So for today, we are going to do a very brief overview of UCGHI, just so you're a little more familiar about our institute and what we do. Then I'll go over the Student Ambassador Program in a little bit more detail, so that way maybe if you had some questions, maybe we can answer it here. And then we'll have one of our Student Ambassador Alumna speak, and she was also a lead Student Ambassador last year. So she has lots of experience with the program. So you'll hear a little bit about her experience, and then we're going to open it up to a Q&A discussion. I will have most of the time today focused on the discussion in case you all came with questions. In the meantime, you're welcome to drop questions in the chat. My colleagues will be answering them. Any kind of more complex questions, maybe we'll save to the end, but if you have any throughout the presentation, don't hesitate to drop it in the chat. So with that, we will go ahead and get started. So what is UCGHI? We are the UC Global Health Institute. We advance local and global health equity so our people and planet thrive. We are a 10 campus wide institute. So we leverage the research, teaching, expertise, and power of all 10 UC campuses by fostering relationships across institutions and communities locally and globally. We have a lot of collaboration and meaningful partnerships that have happened through our institute, and it enables, creative approaches to new projects and initiatives with mutual trust and learning. We also train the next generation of diverse leaders through our Global Health Career Pathways program, which ranges from high school. We do a high school program where we engage students, rising seniors in high school in global health, and match them with mentored research. And we go all the way to like postdoc and even some opportunities for early career faculty. So we have a really diverse range of programs that we offer in education and training. We support health equity and advanced health justice using cross-disciplinary, transcultural, and community-based research and advocacy to impact change. So we have a number of different programs. We are just going to go over three of the centers first, and then kind of our main, our bigger program. So we have three centers. One is called the Center for Gender and Health Justice, and they promote justice and scientific advances to reduce gender and health inequities. They do a lot of different work. Their signature research projects are on violence prevention and expanding abortion access in the United States through telehealth. They also do a lot of work in sexual and reproductive health, and they also work in maternal health with farm workers. And then we have our Center for Planetary Health, and this center addresses the looming crisis resulting from the effects of rapidly growing populations, limited food and natural resources, and climate change on land, air, water, and life on our planet. This center does a lot of work in One Health. And if you've never heard of One Health before, it is kind of how we work as people, animals, and our environment all together. And a lot of this is, preventing future pandemics, addressing new emerging infectious diseases. They also work in climate change, soil health, water and health. They also work with the farm worker communities in California. And then last but not least, we have our Center for Health Workforce. They're also called HEAL. They're based in UCSF. And they train and transform frontline health professionals from around the world through building a community dedicated to serving the underserved as their lifelong choice. And we also have a global health education program, and this is a program that my colleague Max coordinates. And they coordinate a suite of online global health courses, which, sorry, not to put you on the spot, Max, but maybe you could drop the link in the chat in case folks aren't aware of it. But we have a lot of different online courses that are through UC Online. And there are different initiatives through this program as well, that we will get into a little bit later. So for the Student Ambassador Program, the goals of the program are kind of organized under two buckets. So there's education and training, and a central goal of this program is to educate ambassadors on global health issues, specifically with a focus on the subject areas that are covered by the three centers I just mentioned. And we also do a lot of facilitating community building with fellow students interested in global health. So that is with your fellow ambassadors across the UC, and then also for different UCGHI related events or programs, you may also meet additional students. And in the program, we do a lot of networking opportunities too for you to meet more students that you may have similar interests with. We also integrate cultural humility in global health and actively acknowledge and identify power inequities through collective dialogue. We do a lot of discussions at the end of our webinars to really apply what you learn and to think critically about what you learn and kind of apply it to things you're learning in your classes as well. Our second bucket is the professional development. We connect students and faculty and staff across all 10 UC campuses to expand your professional network. We amplify student voices through UCGHI social media platforms and also through our newsletter that is sent to over 5,000 people across the UC. We have different student spotlights or news articles where we highlight some of our students. And last, we create professional growth opportunities and workforce skills building through workshops and networking opportunities. So for the student ambassador role and responsibilities, for this program, if you were to join, the program ranges from January to June this year. It's a little bit different than past years in that it's kind of more condensed, but a little bit more intensive. It'll be about 1 to 2 hours per week. So when you apply, do make sure you have the time commitment for that. You'll also have to participate in all monthly educational webinars and networking events. So we'll have 1 to 2 sessions per month. I'll show the schedule a little bit later. It's at the end of the slides. But you do have to attend every session to get credit for this program. Obviously, we understand some folks may have class or work. We schedule them during the times where most students are free, but if you aren't able to attend live, we will send you the recording, and then you'll have to complete a required survey that will kind of assess if you watched the recording or not. We do really recommend watching live though. You get the most out of the program that way by being able to actually talk to the speakers and interact with your fellow students and participate in discussions that are had. We also will have student ambassadors connect with diverse and dynamic students and leaders in the field of global health across all 10 UC campuses and our partner institution, Charles R. Drew University. We'll have grand rounds, which will be public webinars for open to anybody across the UC, including faculty and even community members. So as part of the Student Ambassador Program, student ambassadors will need to amplify these events on their campus to their peers and to student-led organizations interested in global health. We're also going to have a virtual water and health research conference this year. in spring. We don't have the date yet, but there will be a lot more information to come. But student ambassadors will also be tasked with amplifying this event on their campus and potentially even hosting like an in-person watch party on your campus for fellow students to watch it together. And then there will be a required final project. More information about this will be shared once admitted into the program. But in past years, it's usually like picking a global health topic that you're interested in and presenting it to fellow ambassadors through either like arts-based presentations, anything you can kind of do it creatively. Some of the projects vary by year, but we'll always share details months in advance so you have ample time to work on it. As a student ambassador, you may also be invited to participate in a variety of UCGHI affiliated opportunities. These are all optional, but we do have a lot of different internships and student engagement opportunities that arise throughout the academic year. So you will have the opportunity to kind of get first dibs in applying to those before they're open to the public. And then if you complete all program requirements, you will receive a certificate of completion at the end, and then also a student stipend of $300. So kind of about student engagement opportunities, there's a lot that kind of happen throughout the year, but we do have two that you will see in the application that we're offering now. So once you kind of get past like filling out your basic information and then the essay questions in the application, you'll see two optional questions asking if you are interested in these opportunities. So our Center for Gender and Health Justice is needs to pilot a online course on gender and health justice. It's asynchronous, and they need undergraduate students to enroll in the class and to take it during winter. Um, and they'll also have students after completing the course. They will participate in a focus group discussion where you can kind of talk with other stakeholders and students about your experience, like what could be improved, what you enjoyed about the class. And it'll help them kind of finalize the course before it's offered potentially at the UC. So it's a really exciting opportunity, and they're offering an extra $500 in addition to the $300 student stipend for the ambassador program. And then additionally, for the Water and Health Conference, for any UCGHI conference, we usually have a student planning committee to help us kind of coordinate the conference and create social media toolkits, advocacy toolkits, helping with like logistics day of. It's a really awesome opportunity to get experience in event planning. It looks good on a resume, and then you also get to work more closely with the UCGHI team, which is a bonus. Sorry if you can hear my cat meow. So for eligibility for the Student Ambassador Program, applicants must be currently enrolled at a UC campus or at Charles R. Drew University. You must have also completed at least 1 year at your academic institution. These are two newer kind of eligibility criteria, just because the program will look a little different this year. You're still welcome to apply if you don't fit this criteria, but just know that preference will be given to students who are currently enrolled and who have at least completed 1 year at your institution. And also, the second one applies to undergrads only. So we have accepted freshmen before, and it's awesome having freshmen. Again, you're still welcome to apply, but this year, I think since it's going to be a little bit more interactive and there's going to be more opportunities to be engaged, we do need students who, who have a little bit more time, not time on your hands, because we know you're always busy, but I know freshmen are usually like when they first start their at the university, they are a little bit more getting used to the schedule and the demands that they have for courses. We also are requiring demonstrated engagement with a global health related activity on your campus. Now, this doesn't have to be super formal like this kind of program. It could be volunteering for anything kind of health related. There will be some questions in the application kind of asking about your passion for global health and what experience you have. So you can outline your response to that in the application. And we also require student ambassadors to exhibit leadership, initiative, dependability, curiosity, and enthusiasm for global health. We are committed to building a culture of belonging in all of our spaces. So applicants are requested to include in their application essay responses how they will further this goal. Students, applicants will also need to demonstrate strong communication, written and verbal, including commitment to being responsive to email through the duration of the program. This is very important. We, of course, we sometimes have hundreds of applications for this program. So we are accepting students under the impression that you will be committed to the program and will respond to email communication. So please do make sure to pay attention to this criteria when you're applying as well, and really just assess if you do have the bandwidth to do this program this year. And again, students will commit 1 to 2 hours per week for the duration of the program. We also have our website. We have different curriculum topics every year, but you can look at some of the past curriculums on our website here. Okay. And then kind of to wrap up about the program, we also have a really exciting opportunity to be a lead student ambassador. So for eligibility for this, we do need students to have previously served as a student ambassador in the past and be currently enrolled at a UC or Charles Drew University in an undergraduate, graduate, or professional degree program. And you must also have a strong interest and passion for global health, planetary health, gender and health justice, and or health equity. And then this is a bit more time intensive, so you must be able to dedicate 3 to 5 hours per week. It's not always 3 to 5 hours, but kind of at the max, that's what it is. So just to be ultra, you know, um, you know, sure that you have this commitment and bandwidth to do this if you apply for this position. And this is optional, so at the end of the application, it'll ask you if you're interested in this position, and if you're not, you can just click no, and it'll take you to the end. But the reason there's a little bit more time commitment for this role is because there's some additional responsibilities. So it's the same time frame from January to June, but to be in this role, students will help with some program support. So it'll be assisting the student ambassador coordinating team, which is myself, Max Azul, and our colleague Sun, with administrative program support for the program and also to support some UCGHI hosted events. You'll also meet regularly with myself and Max, sometimes twice a month, just to check in on tasks, if you have any questions to ask us, to kind of share back if students, have questions or need further assistance. You're kind of going to be the liaison between us and the rest of the student ambassadors. And you can also contribute to program curriculum development, which is really awesome to put on your resume as well. When we start kind of organizing some of our networking events and workshops, you will have be able to offer your insight into that as well. And you'll have to attend and support all of our webinars and networking sessions. This is more required that you have to attend in person as much as possible because there will be roles throughout the webinars, like introducing the speakers, monitoring the chat, leading polls. Sometimes we do like check-in polls at the beginning with students. And then also looks good on a resume, you can co-moderate some of the Q&A discussions with the speakers. So it's a really cool opportunity that you may use in the future if you work in academia at conferences. And then also to be able to kind of speak more with our speakers who are experts in the field in global health and who are always really awesome to meet and to network with. And then lastly, you'll be tasked with supporting the ambassadors. So you'll hold a monthly 1 hour office hours with student ambassadors in your designated geographic region. So we're kind of hoping to have one lead student ambassador in Northern California and one in Southern California. And sometimes they'll have questions for you, especially as like the final project or events start to come up. So you'll kind of be there to help them and support them with that. And then lastly, you'll be tasked with leading and planning and implementing 2 community building activities for ambassadors in your geographic region. In the past, we've had more opportunities to be in person, but since some of our opportunities and events are virtual this year, we do want to make sure that you that all the ambassadors are able to engage in community building on their campus and to really be able to see each other in person. So we'll have the lead student ambassador, we'll work together to create different opportunities for that. And then in addition to the $300 ambassador stipend, the lead student ambassador will receive a $700 stipend. So it'll be a total of $1,000. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to my colleague Max, who's going to lead a discussion with one of our alumni.
Yeah. Hi everyone, Max again. I want to introduce Uditi Desai, and give her a little space to introduce herself, pronouns, and also share when she's been a student ambassador and lead ambassador before. So I'll give you that space, and then I'll ask you the very important questions right after. So take it away, Uditi.
Hi everyone, my name is Uditi. I use she, her, hers pronouns, and I am a UC Riverside undergraduate. I graduated 2 years ago. So I was a student ambassador from 2023 to 2024, and I was the lead ambassador last year.
Cool. Thank you so much. Okay, so I have a couple questions that I'm going to ask her. I also want to provide space. I know there's about like 15, 16 people here, so if you all have specific questions for her as well, feel free to put in the chat. If you feel more comfortable sending that to me directly, you can DM me directly in the chat as well. I'll open up the space, but I know sometimes people are shy to speak in this space too. So whatever you're most comfortable with. But first off, Uditi, the first important question I'll ask you is, how did the Student Ambassador Program influence your career goals and your professional network?
Yeah, so some background for me. I was a pre-med student at UC Riverside, and I'm currently in my gap year before applying to medical school. So with this program, I was able to learn a lot about health equity and community-centered healthcare. And so with that, I was also able to network with different UCGHI leaders as well as leaders on my campus as well. And yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Um, what did you find this is kind of a follow-up question on my end. Did you find it this as a easier opportunity to network with folks versus like not having this opportunity?
Oh, definitely. I feel like UCGHI like gave a great space for networking, especially on campus and for other campuses as well. I'll also mention this like a little later, but like through UC Global Health Day, I was able to like network with a lot of the UCGHI leaders like in person, and that was definitely a great opportunity for networking and as well as getting to know the other like student ambassadors as well.
It's really a great opportunity. I know sometimes I'm sure a lot of people here can relate to it too, but knowing that it can be hard to connect to people over the same things, like classes and different spaces can be hard to meet professors and other students. So to have a space where people have the same passion around global health and wanting to kind of strive for the same things, it really kind of bridges that gap for people. So
Yeah.
happy to hear that. Um, what is you kind of named it a little bit. I'm assuming this might be the case, but what is the most memorable experience from your time in the student ambassador program?
Yeah, so when I was a student ambassador, we had UC Global Health Day at UCLA, and it was really great opportunity to just like meet everyone in person. This is like this program is mostly online, but the opportunities where we are able to meet in person, they're very valuable, and I had lots of fun meeting everyone. I think that was also like the first time I met you, Stephanie, in person, so that was really fun too. Um, as for when I was a lead, I would say the most like fun project that I worked on was the research audit. So I remember like pitching the idea to you guys, and then you guys later helped develop that with the UCGHI staff and leaders, and just to be able to see that transform from just an idea to an actual like research project, that was very fulfilling to see.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think, and to give context to the people that are here, Global Health Day this year will be that version of the Water Research Conference. We decided to kind of the focus of changing the topic, and this year the focus of the research will be water, water and health. And that will be online because of obviously budget and other things, but we want to make sure to create those connections that people can network with not just professors, but students that have those connections too. And yeah, the audit. And so want to give props to Uditi for having the idea and kind of building off of. But last year we had a lot of student ambassadors work on different global health audits, focusing on the academic side, the organization side, and also what programs exist. And we've been finalizing all that information and kind of excited to post that on our website by the end of the year as well, which will be really exciting. But wanted to kind of name that and a lot of good work that people did last year, and it came from an idea that you had, which is amazing to know. Um, Another question I got for you is what would you say to students who are considering applying to this program?
Oh, I would say like definitely just apply and see how it goes. This opportunity is definitely a very unique opportunity. I haven't seen anything similar to this when I was an undergraduate, and just being able to connect with all of the 10 UC campuses is such a unique opportunity. Yeah, I would say definitely apply.
Perfect. Thank you. So I have it in the chat. I don't know if it's directed specifically at you, but I want to give space to you, Uditi, about what did the final project look like for you in your year as a student ambassador, and then uh if you want to talk a little bit about what it looked like for the lead student ambassador, which I know was the audit, and then after that, I might throw it to you, Stephanie, if you want to talk a little bit about what it could look like this upcoming year as well. So wanted to share that because we change it and adapt based on the needs and what we think the students are wanting to take away from it too.
Yeah, so when I was a student ambassador, I remember the project. I was able to work with the other student ambassador from the UC Riverside campus. And so that's actually how I met her, and she's a good friend of mine. We still like keep in contact to this day because we met through this program. And so we had worked together on a health project focused on UC Riverside. And I believe it was like environmental pollution and how it affects the health of the residents of the Inland Empire. So it was definitely a more UC Riverside focused health project that I had done for when I was a student ambassador. And so, yeah, what I had mentioned earlier for when I was a lead, we had focused on the research audit where we basically were able to compile a whole like data infographic of the different health related classes, courses at UC Riverside, as well as its different student organizations and different opportunities related to global health on the campus. And we were also able to make a fun little video just advertising that as well. And I believe they play those during like the global health classes. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. And Stephanie, do you want to have space to talk about what that might look like for this upcoming year?
Sure, thanks, Max. So this year we may have students update some of our resource audits if needed. I know our ambassadors did an amazing job last year, and Max has been doing a lot of work to make sure everything's very comprehensive. But there may be some space for student ambassadors to kind of update if necessary. But likely the final project this year, I think since there's going to be a little bit more kind of hands-on work the ambassadors will do throughout the program, like amplifying the grand rounds and hosting kind of like watch parties on their campus for the grand rounds and our water and health conference. The final project will likely be kind of smaller this year. And we usually ask students to kind of think about all of the topics they learned about in the webinars and think of a global health topic of their choice and maybe relate it to what you've learned and then to present to your fellow ambassadors. And I mean, you could do a presentation. You could get experience doing like a scientific research poster. It's really up to you on the format. We love when students do arts-based presentations like photo voice or like even essays about it or videos. So we'll share a lot more information later, but that's likely what the final project will be this year. Um, and then also for our blog, we unfortunately are not running our student blog anymore at the moment. There have been just some funding restraints this year, and our team has been very busy, and we unfortunately don't have the bandwidth to be running the blog. But student ambassadors will be the first to know if we do revive it again. But I'll hand it back to Max.
Yeah. Um, thank you. Thank you for all that context. And I know we're coming up a little on time, but I think a nice way to end potentially. I think what out of curiosity, Titi, if you had to, I know we didn't ask you this in advance, but if you had to like say when you were going into the program and maybe now, if there was like kind of one or two sentences of like why you were interested in global health and wanted to do this, like what would that be? Because obviously global health spans so much, you know, but what would be that one or two sentences? And so that way everyone knows.
Yeah, so I am definitely more interested in like the gender and health equity side of global health. I was able to work on like my own like personal research project regarding um, gender health at UC Riverside, and so that kind of piqued my interest regarding that field. And then with this program, I was also able to attend many wonderful webinars regarding those fields.
Cool.
Mhm.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. So, I think with that, it would be, thank you so much for taking the time to share that with everyone. I think if there are any lingering questions that people bring up, we'll make sure to raise that and share that with you afterwards as a follow-up. But I would like to just, because we haven't been able to ask, I know we're going to go into a general Q&A about the program, but everyone that is here, if you all are able to, if you can write like a sentence of why you're interested in global health or what is your passion around global health, because I think it varies and it might be nice to know what everyone's coming into the space and being interested in. So if everyone can take like 10 or 20 seconds, it doesn't have to be a formal sentence, it could be a word or two, but like maybe why you're interested in global health and put it in the chat so that way people can see what different interests exist. So if everyone can take just a couple seconds and send it in the chat, that would be amazing. Um, so I'll let everyone do that now. I hope that's okay, Stephanie. I just thought that would be a nice way for people to see kind of what they're interested in. Um, cool. I'll let everyone think about that for a second. Take like 20, 30 seconds and have it ready, and I'll tell you all when to send it. Um, and I was gonna hum the Jeopardy theme song, but I think that's not the best bet. Take a few seconds. Okay. So assuming you'll have a sentence or two, again, doesn't have to be formal or anything, but if you want to send it in the chat now, what you're most interested in, and then so that way people can see. So please send them now. So intersection of language and global health around multilingualism impacts healthcare, interest in the intersection of health, politics, and the environment, interested in maternal and reproductive health, intersectionalities between global health and social justice advocacy, these are amazing. Please keep on sending them in the chat. I think it's awesome to kind of not just share it with everyone, but also to have understanding of what are you interested in? What is your passion around it? You know, some of it might just be figuring out what else exists because it is such a broad topic. But I want to make sure y'all can start honing that. So when you join this program, you have a better idea of what you're looking for, wanting to get out of it too. But cool. And I will close that. And then I guess from now we're gonna transition to the Q&A for the general questions, right, Stephanie?
Yes, we're almost there. And thanks for leading that, Max. This is super. All these responses coming in the chat are so awesome. I think as you can see from this, and maybe from what our centers do, the global health is so multidisciplinary and can cover so much. So it's awesome to see all of your interests coming in. They're all so important. Right before we're going to do the Q&A in a second, but I just wanted to show a really tentative schedule just so you have an idea to if you know what your classes might be or could potentially be. This is what the schedule may look like coming up. We have polled students. I mean, we've done this program. This might be the eighth year or ninth. And we usually every year would poll students on when they're free, and it was always on Fridays at noon or on Thursdays from 4 to 5. We know this might not fit for everyone, but we try to alternate a bit so that way students can hopefully join as much as they can in person. But we'll have different webinars that will be the grand rounds that are public, but we will have some special time dedicated for just ambassadors at the end to kind of discuss and go in breakout rooms and kind of discuss what they learned and apply what they learned. And then not open to the public and just only for student ambassadors are our workshops and networking opportunities. And they're going to be really awesome this year. And then also just, sorry, one more. um, date that's not on there, just so you know when you're applying. The decision letters will be sent out by Friday, December 5th. So just so you know, we'll have a couple weeks of reviewing through November, but you will know for sure if you got in or not by the 5th. And then orientation is in January, and it'll be the first Friday that both semester and quarter students are back in school. And then not on here is the beginning of June is when your certificates of completion and stipends will be sent to you. So with that, enjoy some photos of past year ambassadors. Uditi's in one of these photos as well. And I think we will open it up for Q&A. So you can ask anyone here, myself, Max, Azul, Uditi, if you have any questions, and we're happy to answer them for you.
Hello, my name is Chloe, and I'm a second year psych major at UCSD. And I guess this is for everyone, but it could be more personal to Uditi because she has recently been a student ambassador, and this would be my first time applying. And I kind of just, it's very broad, but I mean, do you guys have any advice or um, maybe even like personal opinion or insight on how to start writing your essays and to kind of like how should I frame them or even um what what should I stress even like my interests and stuff.
Yeah, I think definitely focusing in on your interests regarding global health would be the way to go. I think you mentioned something about mental health. Definitely talk about that. And if there's any projects that you're currently doing on campus or any organizations that you're involved on campus, I think that would be a great strength as well. Um, or if there's any like research that you're interested regarding mental health or a specific area within mental health, I think just highlighting what you're genuinely interested in um, is the best way to go when writing the essays.
To piggyback off Uditi too, I will say just be yourself too. I think don't worry about making it sound super, super, like big words and really like to show off that you're intelligent. We know you all are. I think we more want to see like what you're passionate about and like who you are and why you're interested in this program. So really kind of show you and your responses.
Okay, thank you so much. That was very helpful.
Are there any other questions?
My name is Nash. Are you able to hear me all right?
It's a little bit low, but we can hear you.
Okay. Sorry, my AirPods, they're a bit broken. I'm so sorry. But I had two questions. So you guys had mentioned that there's a course that the gender and health course. Is that like a UC credit online course, or is it just like a course without credits, but you still learn all the material?
That's a great question. So it's not yet a UC online course. It eventually will. So the Center for Gender and Health Justice received a grant through the NIH to develop courses on gender and health justice. As this is, a topic that is very important and ranges so much from like LGBTQIA plus health to like sexual and reproductive health and violence prevention, so much. And they, especially I think in this time where access to education might be limited in some areas of the country. The goal is to eventually have this course be open to the public, but for now, they're developing it for undergraduates. And the courses are developed, but before it's formally offered through the UC or through whichever host institute it's going to be through, they just need undergrads to pilot test it. So to really take it and see, like, are there any gaps that maybe you think should be covered? Was there anything that could be better formatted or anything you think that's missing? Or, what parts of it did you like the most? And then in the focus group discussion, there'll be an opportunity for the students who are piloting the course to talk about it. And then the leaders of the course will refine it based on feedback before they make it finalized and actually try to offer it through UC Online.
Thank you.
Yes, of course. A question just came in through the chat. Um, that said, what do topics for webinars typically look like? They range every year. This past year, we did environmental health and water access, global mental health, maternal and neonatal morbidity and mortality in Malawi, Liberia, and Sierra Leone, immigrant health and migration, and we had a workshop on conflict mediation and consensus building in global health. I will say that student ambassadors, we don't cover the same exact topics every year, but we will have a repository of past resources, publications, and recordings. So if there is a topic that we don't cover this year that you really want to hear about, like Chloe even mentioning mental health, like we have a global mental health recording that could be helpful. Um, and the year before that, we did global health policy, LGBTQIA health, um, climate and health and decarbonization, and different topics like that. So this year, it might look a little bit different. I know some topics students had previously asked for that they want to see is like pandemic preparedness. Um, I'm blanking on the rest. There were students every evaluation survey kind of offer what they'd like to see in the coming years. All that to say we're building the curriculum right now, but it usually will be a really diverse range of topics. And then student ambassadors will also have opportunities to see past webinars if they are interested.
Hi, sorry, I had another question. Um, in the pictures that you showed at the end, like I saw that there was like a research poster, and I think from my understanding, for like the final presentation, you could do something artistic or something, I guess to that scale. When doing the research poster or like any art, is it mostly independent, or are we having like faculty like help? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. So the picture I think you're referring to is the top left one. That is our student ambassador, Sean, and he is with a couple other fellow ambassadors. For this specific one, Sean had actually interned with our Center for Gender and Health Justice. So student ambassadors, when there are internship opportunities that arise, you all usually are the ones that would get the first dibs on applying for it. And I know for a fact this year, the Center for Gender and Health Justice are going to they will be offering internships. It might be over the summer, so the call for applications might come more in like end of winter, early spring. But in this one, I believe Sean's internship was on building an indigenous led group that in Santa Barbara area that responded to the community regarding COVID-19. Um, this poster was at our 2022 UC Global Health Day. So usually when we have conferences, student ambassadors are able to submit poster presentation abstracts. This year it won't be in person, but we will have kind of like an interactive web version of how you can present your poster. And it's always a really good experience to have on your resume or CV. And if there are any UCGHI affiliated projects that you are working on, then yes, you will have mentorship from staff and or faculty for that program. It's not, there'll be a range of opportunities and it really depends on what you're interested in applying for. But we'll definitely share a lot of the opportunities through this academic year.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
I had a similar question related to the final projects that student ambassadors are required to do. I'm curious to know if past projects finalized by these students are available or accessible to the public for us to view and kind of see what is expected of us.
That's a really good question. We've never been asked that before. So for the global health resource audit, we really did kind of like an audit of what the global health infrastructure looks like on every UC campus. So I think a lot of students and faculty and staff, like when starting at a UC, like don't know where to begin in regards to UC. And in addition to that, like what global health even looks like on other UC campuses. So as Uditi and Max shared earlier, our ambassadors last year compiled like a 10 UC campus wide audit. We are in the kind of finalizing process, but Max will actually be leading this opportunity and the audit will be on our website soon. So as a list of like resources that students can see. So I would definitely recommend um, signing up for our newsletter if you're not already on it. I'm going to drop the link in the chat. So that way, when the announcement comes, you can see it, but it'll be an interactive resource of really seeing what global health looks like. And that's one example because the student ambassadors for each campus put a lot of that together. But for past, oh, thanks, Uditi. I appreciate that. Um, and for past projects, I think we could share some of that. I'll drop my email in the, I know it's not publicly on our, some of them are the student blogs, but some of the presentations might not be on our website, but if you email me, I'm happy to send you some.
Thank you so much. That's really helpful. I also kind of did had a follow-up question about that blog because I kind of assumed that that's what the blog was, but I don't think that the final projects are on the blog. So I was curious to know what like how do you guys determine or get these publications that are going to be out on the website?
Yeah, that's a good question. I just put the link to the blog in the chat in case folks have not seen it yet. So unfortunately, we are not doing our blog this year. It did take kind of a bit of effort to peer review the submissions and to review all of them and kind of decide which ones go on. Unfortunately, with limited budget this year, we are not able to allocate resources to this year. Um, but I think if you get involved in some research projects through our centers and programs throughout the year, there are usually opportunities to stay on. I know a lot of our past student ambassadors who did internships stayed on and were able to contribute to publications. I'm going to put the link in the chat to our publications page. There's a section under there called Learners and UCGHI Alumni, and some of those were actually by student ambassadors and alumni from our program. So I would definitely recommend signing up for our newsletter. If you're in the program, you'll definitely be exposed to different opportunities you can apply for. Even if you may not get in this year, our newsletter, we always send out opportunities to get involved in research projects, so definitely check that out. And I think when you're involved in research, it's kind of more of an opportunity to contribute to a scientific article that may get published.
Thank you so much. That was very useful.
Are there any other questions? Okay. Well, thank you all so much for coming. If you have any other additional questions, my email is in the chat. Feel free to email me. But best of luck in your applications. I'm sure they'll all be great, and we look forward to reviewing them. And have a wonderful rest of your Friday.